Hello. Hi there. Hi. Hi, I'm Pete Hammond, and I'm just going to moderate here today. Thank you all for coming. And without further ado, I want to introduce this very distinguished panel here, beginning with the producer of the whole Pirates franchise and pretty much everything else, Jerry Bruckheimer. Hello. Have a seat. Okay, and he was, of course, an Academy Award winner and just nominated again this year for the King's Speech, Jeffrey Rush, Barbosa. She was Serena, the mermaid. Yes, Astrid Burgess Frisbee. All right, hello. Of course, can't do this without him, Captain Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp. And a brand new member of the cast, she's terrific as Angelica, Penelope Cruz, Academy Award winner. As Philip, Sam Chaplin. Hello. And, of course, Blackbeard. He's fantastic in this movie. Ian Mcshane. And the director, Rob Marshall. All right. Thanks for coming out. And let's take the questions. We'll start right over here. Yes, we've got microphones.
Everything started in an attraction in Disneyland, Pirates of the Caribbean. So I was wondering, have you ever been there, and how was your reaction? How does it feel to live forever in an adventure in Disneyland with your image and animal family?
It's pretty psychedelic, actually. Yeah. I suppose you could make it even more psychedelic, but we probably shouldn't go into that now. But yeah, the idea of wandering through this ride and suddenly there you are 3 times in the thing. I mean, Jeffrey's a similar experience there. He has to go and see his head on there as well. It's quite an honor, in a weird way. It's a great honor. Some sort of thing that you took part in creating becomes this forever sort of object.
Okay. Right here on the corner. You got a microphone for you? Yeah.
Hi, good morning. Penelope, I wanted to ask you about doing this action movie. And I was just wondering for you, was there a lot of preparation? And did you actually get to go kind of mano a mano with Johnny, or was that all a stunt double?
We did have a lot of preparation in LA. We started a couple of months before the shooting started with Rob and John DeLuca and all our teachers and the team that have done the other 3 movies. They are amazing, and they taught me with a lot of patience. So I knew most of the choreographies because they put them together like choreographies, almost like when we were doing 9 together. So it was very helpful that I knew most of them before we started shooting, and then we did a lot of it together. Of course, everything that was safe because of my situation then, but they were really protective at every moment, and that meant so much to me.
Rob, can you talk about working with Penelope again? She talked about that it's close to 9 in the musical feel of this, and this movie does have an interesting kind of rhythm to it in that way.
Well, listen, I mean, I'm so blessed to work with this extraordinary cast, and working with Penelope again was a huge, beautiful highlight for me. And, it's interesting. This is a very different genre for me, but actually when I began working on it, it felt very akin in a way to things I've done before. Because of the rhythm, I mean, when you're doing an action set piece, it's very similar, as Penelope just said, to choreography in a way. Because it's shot that way, it's meticulous how it's rehearsed. I mean, you have no idea, listen, I could talk for 7 hours about Johnny Depp, but, I mean, please, there's no one like him. But to watch him, he has this amazing ability to watch something and then pick it up and do it within seconds. And he'll hate me for saying this, but I don't care, I'm going to say it anyway. Because, he's Fred Astaire. He's this genius dancer. And, he says for me he is. And he says he can't dance, but he can. He's extraordinary physically, as the entire cast is. I mean, Ian was extraordinary fit. I mean, I'm telling you right now, Sam, as Philip in this movie, I've never seen anything like it in my life. You're like a stuntman. And Jeffrey has, that's all him. Fighting is extraordinary. I mean, this is an incredibly physical group. I was very lucky.
From this side, we'll take you, sir. Yes.
Hi, congratulations, everyone. This is the best movie of the summer. And I know some of this team is going to bring us The Lone Ranger, too. What kind of movie can we expect from that? Will it be funny like this? And can you confirm, Jerry, any of the casting rumors we've heard recently for The Ranger?
Jerry?
Nothing new yet on the casting. We're in the process of meeting people right now, so it's just starting for The Lone Ranger.
And what kind of movie will that be compared to Pirates with you and Johnny?
I think it'll have its own tone. It's going to have a whole different kind of feel to it than what we've done in the past, but it'll be special because Johnny's in it, so he's got a real interesting beat on the character of Tonto.
I mean, I feel like what we're creating within these story meetings and script meetings, and in terms of character and in terms of story, I couldn't say you could compare it to Pirates, but I suppose tonally there is a relationship because there's a kind of fascination with the absurd that's involved in the Lone Ranger as well, some semblance of irreverence. But you need that, right? You got to have that.
And Jerry, talk a little bit about Pirates. There was 2 years between the other Pirates films, and there's 4 years now. What was it that made you want to go back in and sort of reinvent the wheel here with this one?
I think the buying the book gave us a starting place and gave us a lot of ideas to work on it. Screenplays are the hardest thing to try to get right. They look so simple when they work, but they really destroy your brain cells trying to get them there. So we took our time, we got it right. Johnny was really instrumental in working on the script process with us and actually created Sam's character. So, Sam, you can thank him for that. You have to find the cast availability too. And Johnny's busy, and a lot of our other cast members were busy. So we were very lucky that we finally found a time when they were all available together, and we could make the picture. And then we brought in Rob, and Rob was a real coup to get him. We're so fortunate that he agreed to do this. Shocking that he did, but we're thrilled because he's an ultimate master at what he does. So we got very lucky.
All right, right here.
For Penelope, what was the key thing for you in creating this character as far as, was it the clothes or learning the swordplay? And did you have anyone that inspired you in the way that Keith Richards inspired Mr. Depp?
For sure, in a character like this, it really helps to have to have those costumes to be in the real locations. It was very helpful that we didn't go into a studio until after we shot already for like 2 or 3 months in Hawaii, and then they built a beach in Universal Studios. When they told me, I thought it was my English, that I didn't understand what they said, but then I went there and there was really a beach in Universal Studios. And then we went to Puerto Rico, a deserted private island, and then we ended up in London, in Pinewood. But all of that helped me a lot to fly, to imagine what the pirate world in that time was, no? Because it's so far from our reality. To create a character like that is all about your imagination, and it really helped to be in those beautiful places.
Okay. Yeah, right there.
Yes, this question is for Mr. Ian Mcshane. when you were cast as the baddie, the villain, I thought, man, Swearingen? The kids are not supposed to see Pirates of the Caribbean anymore now. But how do you approach your villain role now in this movie? And how do you play it with the other cast?
Well, the biggest badass pirate of all time, Blackbeard. Well, by the time I got the costume on, which Penny Rose devised this extraordinary leather, biker, rocker, pirate outfit, and by the time Kenny fixed those 12 black dead cats to my neck, making this extraordinary beard, no, it was great. I didn't miss the swearing. No, this is a Disney movie. This isn't HBO. But I think Terry Rossio, that was one of the wonderful things that attracted me to it when Jerry and Rob asked me to do it, and they read the script, and it was so literate, funny, quirky, and it was a delight. Shame about the cast, but, they were fabulous. Thank you.
Okay, right here.
Hey, question for Johnny. We've interviewed you for many years, and I remember going way back when you said, none of my movies will ever make any money. So, do you feel really guilty now?
It's not my fault. I did my best, even to the point of trying to get fired on the first one, and they couldn't bring themselves to do it. No, it's kind of interesting to experience that kind of ride, after essentially 20 years of enjoying a career based on failures, and then suddenly something clicks, The weird thing is that, I never changed a thing. The process is still the process as it ever was. The fact that people decided to go and see a movie that I was in was probably the most shocking thing that I've ever been through.
And do you see yourself carrying on doing this for decades, or?
Yeah, I think they could wheel me in. Might have my dreads get tangled in the wheels of my chair, kind of. I don't know. Sure. Interestingly enough, for me, a character like Captain Jack, you feel like you could just continue. The possibilities are endless, limitless. You could. There's any possibility of madness and absurdity that could commence. So you feel that with this character, you're never really done.
Okay, over here, right there. Yes, you. Yeah, and we're going to give you the mic right now. Yeah.
Thank you. Walking into this very successful franchise with clear audience expectation, what were some of the challenges from filming in 3D to joining the new cast of a very highly successful team that each of you faced? You can start with Mr. Bruckheimer.
Well, the most difficult thing I think I spoke about earlier is getting the screenplay right. That is the hardest thing that we try to do, and that's what lures everybody here. Had we not had Elliot and Rossio, I don't think any of these people would be here. Starting with Rob first, because he got attracted to the material, and the same thing with Penelope. If you read a part that you want to play, and you already know you have actors you want to work with, but if it's not on the page, it's not going to be on the screen. So that is the most difficult thing to do for producers, to get a script that attracts this kind of talent.
Jeffrey, this is your fourth time around here. You're a veteran of this. What is it about this particular script and taking your character forward that really attracted you to come back?
I have to thank Johnny, because I think in the development of the screenplay, he said, we must keep the Barbossa Sparrow as an old married couple, constantly bickering, because it goes back to the first film that the ownership of the pearl is at the heart of that conflict. And it was, I think, only on this film that we started to talk about the Black Pearl as a sort of shared girlfriend, because it kind of made that plot line a little bit more interesting than talking about a boat. But they keep shape-shifting the character, which is quite good. You know, I started out as the outright villain, spat out from the mouth of hell. And then in 2 and 3, he sort of became more of a diplomat. And I think now he's really landed on his feet. Or foot. I think he's Barbosa's vain and arrogant and pompous enough to think that he actually does belong in the court. And that gave me a terrific new set of variables to play with, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, right back here. Take someone from the back, yes.
All the way in the back. But you have a great audience of Latinos now following the film, and you have, Spanish people following the film a lot now, more than ever. You have Penelope Cruz with a huge following audience. How important was it for you, for the director, to have authentic Spanish people there, especially with the cast and the extras for this particular film?
Is that for Rob?
That would be for the director, and then for Johnny Depp, we heard you on the film saying "hola" a few times. How many more words did you learn from Penelope?
Okay, all right, Rob, take it.
I mean, it was so lovely. I mean, actually, I think it was also Johnny's idea to bring the Spanish element into the film. You know, he's an amazing writer as well, and he's an incredible collaborator. And we felt we needed a sort of a whole other faction racing for the Fountain of Youth that really helped the urgency of the journey for everybody. And, you know, we found these incredible, with the help of Penelope, by the way, Spanish actors for our film, which was spectacular. And listen, I mean, having Penelope in this film, to me, she's an international star, not just a Spanish actress. She can do everything. And, you know, looking for someone who could play opposite Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow is a huge, huge undertaking. I mean, and to tell the truth, she was the only person we thought of. There was no one else even thought of for even half a second. And because she can do everything, she's extraordinary.
Okay. Yes, right over here. Yes, sir.
Hey, this question is for Johnny Depp. You've now tried to live both like a superstar and a pirate, like most men sometimes dream of. What dreams have you got left now, and what's most important to you now, both as an actor and as a family man?
I'm sorry, what dreams do I have?
What dreams do you have left now? What do you hope for the future, both like for your career and as a family man?
Well, smooth sailing. That's what I hope for. No, I'm okay with no big ups, no big downs. It's all right, you know. Just full steam ahead. All things, well and good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as a family man, you all you want is, as a dad, pure happiness for your kids. That's a universal sort of parent thing, you know. Yeah, that's it. That's my dream. Happy kids.
Yes, sir.
Here for Penelope Cruz, where would you like to see this go for your character in the future? You have the doll and you have Captain Jack's memory with you. What would you like to do with your character in the future?
Yeah, it's just an interesting point that he says you have the doll. You've got to stay all the way through the end credits to see that.
The question was where do I want it to go for her?
Yeah, where would you like to take the character in future installments?
I mean, at least I hope she's not going to die of hunger. She's going to be raised by somebody. But I have the hope that because she finds the doll and she has some of those voodoo powers from her father that got from him, maybe she's going to make him come back. But he can't die alone there. No.
Okay. Someone right over here? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be for Rob or for Jerry, but what were some of the things that you guys wanted to address that maybe were sort of criticized in the last two in terms of them being a little bit too confusing, and what was the balance that you guys had to strike in terms of making sure that everything was clear, but you didn't want to use too much exposition or explanation to make sure that the audience understood what was happening?
Okay. Jerry, you want to?
I think that 2 and 3 get bashed a little bit, but you have to understand that 2 is the biggest of the bunch. It was an enormous success, and 3 reached almost $1 billion. So they were enormously successful movies, even though the media didn't understand them as much as the audience did, and that's what we make movies for. So I think one of the things we tried to address, or we really didn't have to address because we started fresh. We finished our trilogy and we paid off all our characters. So we started with introducing new characters, and it makes it much easier to not have as long a movie because you have less characters and less plot lines to deal with each character. And so this is something that Rob accomplished very well by making a picture that's shorter, not quite as complicated because there are less characters to deal with.
And let's hear from the two new characters that we haven't heard from yet. Astrid, what was it like walking into this incredible, pirates world here for you as a mermaid? And you make a great mermaid.
Well, unreal. When I went to the first audition, I even don't speak English, so it was quite really unreal. And I think I learned so much, and I felt so lucky, and was an extraordinary experience to work with Rob, with Jerry, with everybody around this table, and it was amazing for me to act this really interesting character, because the mermaids in the movie are very different than every mermaid we have seen before, and the mermaid I play is different than the others because she meets Philip, and I think their relationship symbolizes something really great and powerful, like kind of two cultures meet and try to trust the other one and take up all the protection, and it was just a pleasure. And
was it a pleasure for you, Sam?
Even now, my heart's beating. I mean, right from the get-go, really, I never kind of imagined that this is even possible. I mean, the moment my agent called me to say, "You have an audition today for Pirates of the Caribbean," I was like, "Oh, what's the point? It's never going to happen. It's impossible." And then 2 days later, flying myself out to LA to meet Rob and Jerry, and even getting dressed in Rob's office. John DeLuca kind of got me dressed for the audition. From the get-go, I've been so nervous the whole way through. I'm so anxious to see what people think about it. My first sort of step on the ladder. It's a little nerve-wracking, but at the same time, there's a very fine line between nerves and excitement. So I think it's a bit of both, or a huge amount of both, I think, actually. But I mean, it's a true honour to be working with, the ensemble that we have. We really became like a family unit when we were especially when we were in LA, Hawaii. We were all away from home, and it was nice to have everybody be so welcoming. I actually felt like I belonged there, as opposed to living a dream. So yeah, I'm very thankful for everyone.
All right, right over here.
Hi, my question is to Captain Jack. You were saying you enjoy playing Captain Jack because you have a license to complete irrelevant, subversive, and absolutely abstract. How you see the similarity between the actual you and the Captain Jack? And another question, if you have a chance in future to be director, will you consider to play a lead role in that movie?
Do I consider to play a what? Oh, lead role. Oh, yeah. No, I tried that once. Yeah, first one's free, If I ever thought of directing again, I mean, I don't know. The idea of directing a film is a strange one for me, because I sort of I feel kind of anti-mathematics in a way, in that sense, or So I don't like when things make sense. I prefer if they don't. So if I made a film, it wouldn't make any sense and no one would see it. So I'll maybe just make little films at home with my phone, never to be released. And in terms of any connection to the character of Captain Jack, is that it? We're completely, we're totally different. There's nothing that I can relate to in Captain Jack whatsoever. No, there's, with every character you play, as these guys will tell you, any character you play, there's a part of you goes into that in terms of the ingredients of making this whatever stew. There's most definitely a part of me in Captain Jack, and now, fortunately or unfortunately, there's a great part of Captain Jack in me as well. Basically, I can't shake him. He won't leave me alone. He sort of keeps showing up at odd times. In fact, he arrived this morning when I was getting my kids ready for school. I had to shoo him away. But, yeah, thank you.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, hi, for Johnny here. Hello, how you doing? Yeah, I would like to ask you about how I was working with Rob and Penelope. I mean, Rob, it's just the first time he's directing one of these movies, and I suppose that with the previous director you have kind of a trust because all the time that you work together. I mean, this guy is just a different director with a different, probably different style for building the takes, and then directing the actors. So that was quite different. And then Penelope, you act with her in Blow. It's been a few years. So I don't know. There's probably some changes that you've seen in each other. And you didn't answer if she managed to teach you some Spanish finally. Thank you.
I'll start with the last one first. She taught me the raunchiest Spanish. That it's so foul that I couldn't bring myself to repeat it here and now. No, I think it's a bad idea. I could carry that on my back for the rest of my days. And then, going to work with Penelope again, having done the film Blow together 10, 11 years ago, something like that, was the weird thing. It felt like when we saw each other again, it felt like we'd wrapped the film Blow the week before or a few days before. It just sort of clicked instantly, so that this whatever exists in terms of chemistry was just instantly firing on all cylinders. It felt completely right, and it was Rob's brilliant idea to bring her in. And I think when he brought up the idea to me, he maybe got out the consonant, and I went, great idea, So I was very, very excited to have Penelope come into this film. I knew she would be not only a worthy opponent, but someone who would just kill the scenes, and she did. She was incredible. That's all in very good shape. And then Rob Marshall, what a gift, to have someone of his caliber, someone of his talent, to come in and drive this beast and shape this strange animal into something. It was incredible to experience, because it's sort of like some filmmakers go into a film and they've got it all. It's already shot in their head. It's cut, it's shot and cut in their head. I didn't get that feeling from Rob. What I got from Rob was that he heard it as music in a weird way, or rhythmic, and sort of new tempo and a kind of way to finesse the sound, or a way to, which became obviously visual as well. But it was an incredible experience. He's unbelievably his timing, and that's not just to say his choreographic timing or anything like that, but his sense of comedic timing is impeccable. He would have us just shave like an eighth, just an eighth of a millisecond, you know, just a tiny little sliver off of a beat, and it would change the whole dynamic of the scene. You know, it was quite something. The only problem is he's really mean. He's really mean. Look at him. Look at how mean he is. He's the kindest man alive.
Okay, we have time for two more. Yes, you've got.
Hey guys, over here. We've heard that you've already gotten the script for the next film. So I guess my question to Jerry is, and anybody else who wants to chime in, what's the timeline for 5 and 6 in terms of getting those films going, considering some folks' schedules coming up? And in regards to On Stranger Tides, what's your barometer for success once it opens, when you've got a sequel to a franchise that's made billions of dollars?
Well, the success part is up to Disney. You know, if it makes them a lot of money, it's a success, and we're all hoping it makes them a lot of money. As far as the timeline, you know, it took a while to get this script to a place where we all were comfortable with it, and we just got a very rough first draft in, and it'll take some time, and you know, hopefully we could bring it to you quicker than we did in the past, and we hope that happens. But it's going to depend on getting a great piece of entertainment that everybody will enjoy, and that's what it's about. It's about quality.
Okay, right over here.
5 and 6 are and kind of expanding on the whole dancer theme, Rob and Johnny.
Okay, go. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Were you going to say something?
What?
All right.
Kind of expanding on the theme we mentioned earlier, Rob and Johnny. Can you talk about the London escape scene, like jumping on the heads and the carriages and stuff, and how much choreography and rehearsal went into that, and how much fun was that to shoot?
It was horrible. It was grueling. No, you know, I mean, it's an obtuse, it's a very strange little sequence, you know. I've never quite, you know, thought of doing many things in my life under the influence of, well, life. And I've never actually thought of, straddling two carriages while they're moving before. And so that was an interesting experience. And then, jumping on people's heads and onto another sort of cart. And then the thing catches fire. And, it's all a bad dream, isn't it? And this is how Daddy brings home the bacon. What I was going to say before is, you know, there's a very clever idea that is being hatched in terms of Pirates 5 and 6. We're going to actually shoot them on the ride. just going around in circles, non-stop, kind of like Andy Warhol's Sleep. Just close-ups on everyone.
And with that intriguing tease, we'll leave it at that. And thank you very much for all coming out here and sharing the secrets of Pirates of the Caribbean.